Are you tired of being called the sick man of Europe? Well, I got great news for you because today, the sick man of Europe is going to be getting a facelift. With patch 1.8, the Egyptians are now a protectorate of the Ottoman Empire, and there have been some silent buffs as well that really doubled down on making the sick man of Europe one of the healthiest in the game. As you can imagine, we still have to do our Tanzimats, but with the Egyptians a part of our market from day one, our economic situation is significantly better than it was in previous patches, and we're going to take full advantage of that. We still need to take over their land, so when the truce is over with the Egyptians in 1840, we will attack them so we take over our Syrian and Palestinian holdings. Technologically speaking, we're a little bit behind, so we have to catch up. We're going to go for stock exchange, obviously, for the market access price impact. We're also going to go for cotton lathe, and then afterwards atmospheric engine, so we can start to industrialize our nation. We started with some consumptions on wine and liquor. We're going to cancel both of those because we don't really have that many wine and liquor enjoyers in our country since it's a Muslim country. Instead, we're going to go for furniture tax, keep the tobacco one, update our production methods to the most optimal ones, such as market squares, change to cargo ports, and change to iron frame buildings. We're going to start from day one using iron frame buildings. Market-wise, we have a few established trade routes, including the one with the British that we have to cancel because we don't really need that extra food. Instead, we want to get the plus 18 compared to base price for grain, and we even want to bring that up even more since we want to get the corn laws. So to help with it, we can do citrus orchard and fig orchard. Go back, and now we have 28 base price. So we set this to encourage exports, and now we should get the corn laws after 1 week has passed. Our construction queue is going to be one construction sector in the capital, followed up with a couple of logging camps here as well. Max this out, might as well. And we have some excesses such as tea, so we can export this to the British, make a bit of money off of that. Same goes for sugar and all the other goods that we have in excess of. There you go. We now have the corn laws, which means eventually we'll get a market liberal, which will help us massively in passing legislation to modernize our nation. Also going to be disbanding some of my ships. I really don't need that many ships. 16 is enough. We're just going to keep the frigates basically. And similarly, I'm going to be disbanding my hussars. I'm only going to keep 5. It should be enough. Now, of course, we're going to do road maintenance in our capital as well as promote social mobility. We are going to be doing the promote social mobility edict in all of the high population provinces. So that's as many as we possibly can do it in because we need to increase our literacy. Easiest way to increase literacy without an education system is from promote social mobility. Plus the added effect is that it also gives us more qualifications for our population. We need to do at least 4 of these Tanzimats here, one of which is the education reform. So that means we have to increase our literacy by 20% alongside have a level 5 university, which we're going to get in our capital. We're going to get as many rivals as we possibly can get so we get some extra influence, and we're going to use that extra influence to improve relations with nations like the British, the French. Oh wait, the British actually would like to get an alliance with us. Oh, I actually would not mind this at all. Let's go for that defensive alliance. That's going to come in massive handy actually. We also got a declared interest in South Africa and South America because, well, let's just say for strategic reasons. We also need to make sure to improve relations with all of our subjects, all of which are basically disloyal at the start. A modern conservative, we just have an agitator, a market liberal for the landowners, meaning that he's going to support free trade, homesteading, and a few other laws that we really want to pass. So in order to make this guy the leader of the interest group, we need that particular interest group to align with his views a little bit better. So that's not as easy to do as it was in previous patches. We actually have to actively support a political movement that influences our landowners to be more aligned. Oh, almost forgot. I need to make sure I prioritize non-luxury clothing and furniture because that's what's mostly needed in our country right now. And we can change back to single crops so we stop having massive shortages of grain. We just needed that temporarily so we can get the market liberal. One of the early laws we can do is legacy slavery. We cannot really ban slavery without a lot of opposition from the local governors or landowners. However, they don't endorse legacy slavery, and that gives their political strength down from 50%, which is what they have now, to 25%, way better, and allows us afterwards to continue to lower their clout little by little, I guess. It's baby steps when you're playing as the Ottomans early in the campaign, but it's worth it, trust me. Another thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be manually lowering the autonomy in my subjects, Wallachia, Moldova, Serbia, one by one. Lowering that autonomy and getting war reparations will both improve my economy a little bit, and it's also going to make it easier for me to, oh, they backed down. Okay, that's pretty cool. They're gonna make it easier for me to integrate them later down the line. I've noticed with patch 1.8 that the great powers do not necessarily get involved in my lowering the autonomy of Wallachia, Moldova, Serbia early in the campaign, but if I was to wait for a couple of years, they do get involved. So that's why I don't mind getting 18 infamy from day one, since it really will help me out through the rest of the campaign, and it's going to make it easier to keep control over these areas from the very beginning rather than having to fight the Russians just to make these guys a puppet, right? And yes, with 1.8 they become a puppet once I lower their autonomy from a protectorate. It's not dominion anymore. It's a different rank system overall that's way better in my opinion. I also feel fairly confident that we can get a 4th construction sector in our capital now. Same thing with Montenegro. Earlier the Austrians don't get involved, but if I was to attack them about even 2 years later, they probably would get involved. So I just want to get rid of this annoying little bleep. It's just like a small semi-section of one province. It's no point for the Montenegros to even exist in my opinion. And I know, Ludi, you just hate on the Montenegros. I don't, I swear I'm not a Montenegrin hater, I promise. Also, look how beautiful the provinces look now. Like seriously, look how amazing they look now. Come on. One thing that nobody expects me to do as the Ottomans is to attack Argentina though. And that's strategic because getting Argentina means we have access in our market to more goods afterwards, more coal, more sulfur, more iron, everything that we would easily be getting from South America. And getting this early again is very little infamy, plus the great powers don't get involved, which is essentially just free real estate. Also, the Argentinian war is extremely easy. We just have to navally invade the capital here, and then once we have the province, we set our units to defend, and we don't even need to take the rest of the country. We essentially just win the war by holding Buenos Aires for a few months. And yes, you can do this as any nation as long as you have a few units and a couple of ships, because Argentina starts with like 6 battalions, which is honestly nothing. Okay, we're actually getting quite a few setbacks with our initial legislation, so we're gonna cancel that out. It's a waste of time honestly right now. I've also started bolstering the modernization movement, which is the movement that Tevkir Pasha supports, and that is the way to make this agitator the leader of the landowners eventually. We will attempt to go for appointed bureaucrats now. It's about the same amount of chance that we get this as it was for the legacy slavery, but there's no stall chance now, so it's a little bit better than the other legislation. Unfortunately, with Ottomans, early game it can be super RNG. My test runs, I actually passed the banned slavery really early. Then again, every run is different, so gotta mold yourself on however your RNG dictates your run. Hey, we cracked through their lines. Let's set this guy to defend the province of Buenos Aires, or as it's gonna be known after I conquer it, Janissary Iris, for no reason whatsoever. We're totally not gonna take their kids and turn them into child soldiers. Clearly that's not what the Ottomans did for 500 years. And look at that, we already went to consideration phase on the first thick. Also, again, confident we can expand our construction sectors by 1 more. Let's go. And let's also spam some more tooling workshops. Let's say 3 more tooling workshops should be of use to us. Let's also improve with our brand new vassal. Hey Ottomans, what are you doing there? Are you attacking Gaza to take the gold next to them? No, we're liberating, guys. This is the liberation of Gaza for freedom purposes, really. We're not doing this so we have access to the rich gold mines of Transvaal after. Totally not. Hey, look at that. The British canceled their guarantee already. Not on Orange, but they did on Transvaal. So that is just, it's free real estate, guys. I'm sorry, but I cannot not attack this delicious gold mine area. This is a prime example of why colonialism worked in the 19th century. Wait a second. Persia. Why is Persia continuously attacking like seriously, I've seen Persia attack everyone around already. They're so aggressive. I kind of feel like maybe I should make them a protectorate. It's 29 infamy only right now, which is kind of nothing. But I got 1 year until I can attack the Egyptians. I just realized I have to chill because I need to take I need to have a lot of infamy to spare when I attack the Egyptians. Speaking of, I got to get more rivals so I can lower my infamy a little bit faster. So let's go ahead and get whoever we can as a rival, of course. I can get even more by canceling some of my improved relations, say the one with the Prussians, the ones with the Wallachians, and the ones with the Serbians. We can get that back later down the line. We just want the infamy gate to be as high as possible. And also, we got taxation capacity increase. So we went up to 85,000 now. Let's go down to back to medium taxation. It also means we can probably get another one of these construction sectors in the capital, of course. Again, feels like everything we're doing in the capital right now. Let's check. We have still a lot of shortages of iron, so we can spam a couple more iron mines in the capital too. The only way to fix that though is to get atmospheric engines, so we're working on it, but it's not that fast because we don't have any universities. So actually, I just realized decentralized. I think it's time we get those 5 universities in our capital as well. Put them up in the queue after the iron mines and the tooling workshops. We're not doing any expansion anywhere else for the time being, so we should be Gucci. Now, the modernization movement is putting pressure on pretty much all the interest groups except the freaking landowners. Have to keep pushing into this and keep bolstering them until they affect the landowners, which will allow us to set this agitator as the new leader of the landowners. I'm also going to do racial segregation next. There's quite a bit of support for this, so hopefully it passes, because racial segregation will allow us to get more of our population as accepted pops. Right now, if we go to society status, we only have 7.5 million full acceptance pops. These are basically the Turkish people in our country, whilst we have 2 million second-class citizens, open prejudice 400,000, 2 million cultural erasure, and 9 million violent hostility, which is a pretty big problem actually. That's most of our pops in the Balkans, the Greeks, the Bulgarians, etc. They are not having a great time, that's for sure, and that's giving us a lot of radicalization, unfortunately. Okay, so we've got lathes, which means we can change the production methods for our furniture manufacturers, the textile mills, and that's gonna actually bring a lot of money in now, so we can eventually even start spamming these buildings to both increase our GDP and to also make these goods available to our population. I eventually want to have at least one of each, one clothing manufacturer and one furniture manufacturer in every single state that I own. It is time that we reassert our authority over the Syrian parts of our nation. Egypt seized our Levantine provinces in 1833 after its governor tried and failed to overthrow the entire imperial government, but now we need to have complete and unopposed control over our former provinces and teach our subject a lesson in, not sure what the lesson should be in, but just teach them a lesson, okay? These are, of course, return province CBs, so we're not getting that much infamy, only 43 infamy from basically taking back all of the Levantine provinces, and we could call in the British, but honestly, I feel confident enough to take care of the Egyptians by myself. After all, we also have the support of our vassals, which are now puppets, so their units will be fighting alongside ours. Now that we have racial segregation, we also have acceptance at 50 for the Kurds, Mashrikis, Bedouins, and everybody else that is essentially Middle Eastern heritage. Unfortunately, we would need to get better legislation to accept the Greeks, Bulgarians, and so on. Still, they're basically 5th class citizens, sadly. What we could do to improve that is get better church and state laws. So, for example, if we go for total separation, then we would get 15 acceptance for all the European pops in our country. Since we get that acceptance from religion, it does not have to be the state religion or a similar religion to the state religion for that matter. All right, boys, time for the engagement. Let's go. We're going to be pushing towards getting our war goals, and then we're going to be defending after we got the war goals, so we just wait for the war score to go down. They will likely push in our Tripoli front. They pretty much always do that with at least half of their army, so we got a small little contingent here, which is essentially just acting as bait to make it slower for them to push into Tripoli. There you go. We already got most of the war goal. Actually, we got all the war goals, so once we get Cairo, we can just set our boys to defend. Wait, is that Cairo? I think that's Cairo, right? All right, so we can send our units now to defensive, and we've essentially already won the war. This is like 10 times better than it was in the previous version of Victoria 3. I feel like the Ottomans have received a massive buff. Hey, the British are also guaranteeing our independence. I mean, what else can we ask for here, man? It means the Russians are also not going to try and attack us with the British now defending us. Wait, didn't we have a defensive pact with the British actually? Hey, we got Syria back, guys. That means we got the Reclaim Syria Tanzimat done, and we just need to do 3 more Tanzimats to complete the Sick Man of Europe journal entry. And yes, I was correct. We do have a defensive alliance with the Brits, so then why did they even guarantee us? Makes no sense. AI really works in mysterious ways, doesn't it? Wait, we got consideration phase for homesteading. Oh my god, this is the run, guys. This is actually the freaking run. This is beautiful, actually. Only thing missing is us getting these as incorporated states once we conquer them from the Egyptians. Right now, we only have Aleppo and Adana as incorporated states, which kind of makes sense, I guess. Oh, now that actually is a first. They would accept me making them into a puppet without having to go to war. I don't even remember the last time I've seen that happen with one of my subjects. Finally, we got atmospheric engine, so now we can actually properly industrialize a nation. We're gonna switch over to atmospheric engine, our coal mines and iron mines. So we went from having a massive shortage to only 97, less than what we need to properly run our nation, which is actually a big deal. We still need some more iron though, so let's queue up at least 4 more iron mines in our capital and bring that up at the top of the queue right after we do the coal mines in Aydin and Kastamonu. a historic moment in the history of the Ottoman Empire and a first step towards properly modernizing homesteading, meaning that now we're going to get a lot more support for the rural folks since they got 25% political strength increase, as well as 50% of all of our agricultural and ranch buildings are owned by workers, which is primarily peasants. All right, we got a secondary agitator. This time we have an abolitionist, which is amazing because that's exactly what we need right now. We are a consideration phase for legacy slavery, but eventually we want to completely ban this. So getting an abolitionist agitator is 100% a step in the right direction. Just the 5 gold fields alone give us 4,000 ducats, which is insane, man. I mean, we're making so much money right now. I'm honestly super happy with that. And also by building our clothing workshops first off in the Balkans, where most of the population gets paid peanuts, we make even more profit because that's right, most of the Balkans is on the violent hostility acceptance level, meaning that the wages for them are 30% less compared to the other population in our country. So we're essentially role-playing modern day Apple. I'm also gonna need to get some more farms. I don't really have that many farms. In fact, I have none in Anatolia itself. I'm gonna get 2 in each province in Anatolia because apparently people are really paying a lot for farms right now. In fact, I'm gonna get at least 1 farm in every single province and just focus a little bit extra in Anatolia, which is where the majority of my Turkish pops is. And of course, we want to make our primary culture pops, the Turks, a little bit happier. Am I right? Okay, that's perfect. 25% less political strength for the landowners is spot on with what I needed right now. Let's go check our legislation, see what else we can pass. I would love to go away from state religions so I give more people more acceptance eventually when we get total separation, but at the same time, by getting the intelligentsia and the industrialists together in government, we might have a shot at passing interventionism, moving away from traditionalism, so then we can start snowballing a lot more and we can double down on our economic output already. I am on medium taxes right now and we're barely hanging in there. Technically, I should stay on high taxes, I guess, so that eventually I start paying off some of those loans. I got 4,000 in interest, which is not ideal. We have almost 2 million in credit, which is quite a lot, really. Honestly, no brainer to attack Marina. Since we have quite a few ships, we're gonna easily navally invade them. Plus, Marina will provide us with a lot of extra coal and rubber later down the line when we start to need those for our mid-game production methods. Oh, this is huge. We get 50% political movement attraction and activism for modernization movement. Exactly what we want. Holy mother. So that adds actually up to 9% now. Problem with this particular wait. We got the local governors. Oh, that means we can make this guy a leader now. We just have to bring the local governors into our government. There you go. And booyah shaka, boys. Now get him out of the government as well. And we actually can pass all legislation without issues now. Look at that. There's no more opposition from the landowners for interventionism, nor is there for anything really, I would assume. How's this going? Almost about to finish the invasion of Marina. Then we get another nation that eventually will pay us tribute. That's what this game really is about, guys. It's about getting all the tribute from everybody around the world. Oh, we did another Tanzimat, suppress separatism. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so we just need to do the education reform one, which is not too far away actually, and then we're done. Or we can do urbanization one, or we're kind of close with army and bureaucracy as well. We literally just need one technology. Central staff is needed for the army one, which we're actually going to get next. So I guess we've already stopped being the sick man of Europe as it stands. Now we're going to attack the Egyptians again. This time we're taking the rest of the cores that we have, essentially the core lands of Egypt, Middle Egypt, Lower Egypt, and Upper Egypt, as well as the Sinai. This is actually where the majority of their population and GDP is. Look at this. This state alone has 3 million pops and 3 million GDP. 1 million here, 2 million here. So we essentially are going to go up to like 25 million after this one war alone, and it's going to make it easier for us to also keep the Egyptians in check afterwards. Since they're going to be significantly smaller, it's also going to cost us less to lower the autonomy and to annex them eventually as well. And we just got the brand new training method for the barracks, general training, meaning we did the army modernization Tanzimat. So that's pretty much everything. Now we get some claims on the Transylvanian and the Greek areas, so it's significantly less aggressive expansion to conquer Greece whenever whenever we're ready. Same goes for Transylvania. It's going to be a lot cheaper now. But more importantly, we stopped being the sick man of Europe, so we're basically on par with the rest of the world. We also have a lot more prestige, so we are the 7th great power of the world. Plus, when the war with the Egyptians is done, I'm going to be doubling down on my economic output. Let's actually start doing a couple more construction sectors now. We also paid off all of our debt, so we can go to medium taxation. Another great part about not being the sick man of Europe is that we also have a ton of bureaucracy now. Plus, with the conquered provinces from Egypt, we have a massive amount of bureaucracy. So we're going to use that, and we're going to start by incorporating all of the Egyptian lands as well as the Syrian lands. This is going to give us a lot of tax in return, and all of these provinces are going to be affected by our institutions. It's also that point of the campaign where we have to spam the university so we reach our innovation cap. So I'm going to get one in every single province to not only get the innovation, but to also get the qualifications for the population in these provinces. We're doing really good, man. It's 1853. We already have 23 million GDP, so we're right below the French Republic. We're above the Austrian Empire, above the Americans, above the Prussians, as the Ottomans, might I remind you. And we also have 10 standard of living. So standard of living wise, we're not too bad off. Not in the top 20, but still not bad considering, again, it's the Ottomans, and we have a lot of loyalists too, which is awesome. You know what? I'll give the Greeks something. They got balls, man. They're the ones that attacked me for Thessaly, thinking that, oh, it's us and the Russians, we're gonna have an easy time. Well, buddy, I got the British on my side, and I also have a ridiculously high amount of conscripts that I can use. So I think it's Jover for you, Greek. I think it's mega Jover for you, boys. And guess what? I'm gonna use the conscripts from the Balkans so that the people that die are, you know, Balkan people. Doing the real Ottoman strats here, replacing everyone with Albanian. Yeah, that's right. You thought I was gonna say Turks? No. This whole time, we were actually ruled by the secret Armenian Council. Didn't expect that, did you? Weakling Russians, they gave up only after losing like 300,000 souls. What a bunch of wussies, am I right? Now it's just half the literal planet, if we count the Brits, and on the other side, we have the Greeks. Who is gonna be winning this? Nobody knows except it's us. Yeah, the Greeks are gonna disappear in a few seconds. There you go. No more Greece, boys. Yay. Wait, no! I forgot they have the island in the Aegean. Oh my god, we still have Greece around. This is bad, because I have to fight the Russians again, because they're still oh man, this is honestly the worst. GG's, I guess. Greece, I'll see you in a few years in that case. Oh my god, we got per capita taxation. Our economy just absolutely skyrocketed. On medium tax, we have 247 income. This is amazing. I can literally probably build like 6-7 construction sectors without issues now. One more war, and after this, the Egyptians will be our puppet. Plus, we're taking Crete from them as well, since we want to have direct control over that area. It is, after all, a part of the core Ottoman lands, if you ask me. It's been a part of our lands for a while, okay? We don't talk about the fact that it belonged to the Venetians for a few hundred years. In just 20 years, we're literally one of the strongest nations in the world. Look at that. Fully integrated our puppet, the Egyptians. Revolutionized our country, modernized the country. We have an actual functioning economy in just 20-30 years as the Ottomans. I love this patch. I honestly feel like this patch massively buffed the Ottomans, and that's great. It's good to see. It's a fun new nation to be enjoying instead of always getting crushed by all of our neighbors, right? Now, with the integration of Tunis, we have become the 5th greatest power when it comes to GDP. We're so close to overtaking the French. That is crazy, man. This patch really has been the Ottoman patch, if you ask me. Look at that. We can even expand our construction sectors even more. I don't even know what to say. This is just honestly beautiful, man. Absolutely beautiful. Let's check our culture now. We got 8.8 million primary culture Turks, 3 million Mashrikis, and so on. We still have 14 million violently hostile people, so we really need to deal with that. But our politics are amazing too compared to what we started with. We got interventionism. We have a chance of actually going for laissez-faire now. I guess we can go for religious schools, so we have any type of literacy system going. We have 30% literacy, which is not bad, but still it's not amazing. You can actually see the difference between the provinces where we have and the ones where we do not have the social mobility decree. It's honestly very, very obvious. Now, because of the new flavor in India, what happens most of the times is India does get fragmented. In our case here, we have a few different sides. We've got Hindustan, which is essentially an independent nation that is not in any power block. Then we also have Satara, which is again independent, not in any power block. A few more in the north here. We also have Kalsar Raj, independent, and we have in the south the last holdouts of the British, which are are a chartered company, namely the Madras Presidency, and I'm kind of confident that they're gonna lose that as well at some point. Which begs the question, should I attack them? Because this kind of seems like freelance to me. Look at that, 13 million population, 5 million GDP, and they got a lot of juicy stuff here. They got gold mines, they got all sorts of resources. I don't know, man. Might not be the worst idea to push into India, would it? Actually, first, once we lower our infamy a little bit more, maybe we can attack the Persians, which is not really that bad. Only 37 infamy for Persia is nothing, if you ask me. All right, now we're actually third when it comes to GDP, right behind the British and catching really, really fast. Our economy is absolutely booming. We've also started consolidating a little bit more. The Jabal Shamar actually just left our market as well, so it's time for them to come back into the fray. Only reason I wasn't attacking them before is because they were in our starting market, and we're also getting a lot of requests for basic goods as well as our industrial goods, so I think I'm going to increase the amount of construction sectors even more to catch up with the demand for construction, I guess. This is honestly beautiful. This has to be one of my favorite Ottoman runs so far. I mean, we've gotten so much economy going, and we've got such a great snowball. I absolutely love it. I'm falling in love with this run. I honestly feel like this is my favorite Ottoman run in a really long time. Look at that, we even got freedom of conscience almost. We're on adoption phase. This is the run, guy. Now that we got freedom of conscience, we literally just lost 5 million population from the tier 1 society, and they've been upgraded. Look at that going down. We're literally getting rid of the first tier of unwanted people. We basically have we went from 15 million to 2 million unaccepted pops. Everybody else is absolutely awesome now. Look at that. Everyone went to tier 2. 13 million people are up to cultural erasure, which means that they can be assimilated now. So we're gonna turn all these people into Turks eventually. Now, of course, we want to go for total separation to get them even more accepted. We're also now the world's third great power, and we have the GDP to match it. Plus, I'm fairly confident we can overtake the Brits in 2 years at the current rate. We also are up to 500,000 national revenue onto high taxation. Medium, it's 437. So that's grown basically double in size in just 6 years, and it's increasing every single year by insane amounts. I'm gonna make the save game available for all my patrons and channel members. A link in description if you like to join and become a tribune. And if you guys want to see this continued up until 1936, let's get 6,000 likes on this video. Love you all, and I'll see you in the next one.